Welcome to our first interview and performance on La Mesita Season 13. You are listening to WLPN LP 105.5 FM Lumpen Radio, broadcasting from the chill space here at Yollocalli's Arts Reach. My name is Carlo.
And I'm Juno.
And today we have a special guest.
Hello, I'm Prince of Queens. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here on the show with us.
Thank you.
Prince of Queens, aka Felipe Quiros, normally lends his talented musicianship on keys and bass to the live ensembles of Combo Chemita and Maku sound system. The behind the closed doors of his bunker, a new sector of blissfully solo, machine-made electronic rhythms are steadily bubbling to the surface. Call it techno as imagined by the Tropicalista, as the vintage analog tones of classic house are twisted by a kaleidoscope of influence both Caribbean and Chicagoan. From the wavy beachside vibes of the EP's opening number to the deep, evolving arrangements of The Scene Over and The End Scene onto the jazz chord-fueled robotic timbaled rhythms of Thank You Friends, and finally forward to the future tropical polyrhythmic sequencing of Winter Islander, it's an impressive range of style and skills on display for this talented and up-and-coming producer. Now with all that being said, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, Prince of Queens. Thank you for joining us today, and we're very grateful to speak with you and have you on our show. Now, before we get started, how are you feeling today?
I feel great. Very excited to be here in Chicago. I came in yesterday and very happy to be with you all here.
What do you think of Chicago so far?
I love Chicago. I have really good friends here. I love Mexican food in Chicago is the best.
Yeah.
And I love the music scene in Chicago. Every time I come, I have a great time. So very happy to be here.
Grateful that you're here. Mm-hmm. To start, could you tell us about your name, Prince of Queens, and how did you choose that for yourself?
Yeah, so I grew up in Queens, New York. I'm from Colombia. I was born in Colombia, but I moved to New York when I was 14, and I always been making music. I just used kind of my name before. But yeah, one night on the subway, I thought like, whoa, Prince of Queens. Like it just came to me, and I was like, this is a really cool, funny name. To play with words, you know, and also kind of playing with the idea of, you know, repping Queens a little bit, you know, and also just grateful for my mother and my grandmother, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's in New York, like Queens sometimes is like very underrated, you know, it's like not the cool spot. So I was like, oh, this, you know, Queens is cool.
Did you have any names like before that?
I used to go by Pipe Quiros. That was my name before. But I've had Prince of Queens for a long time now. I feel like that kind of stuck. Even I moved. I live in Brooklyn now, but I'm still Prince of Queens.
That name just stuck. That it was like, I may be in Brooklyn, but I'm still the Prince of Queens.
Yeah. I might even live in New York. I'm still Prince of Queens. I mean, it's beyond, you know, the actual Queens.
Can you tell us how you got into music?
Yeah, I mean, I got into music really, really young. My mom's side of the family is a very musical family. My grandfather and my aunt, they all like play guitar and at home and like sing and wrote songs. But it was never really like I think in the family was never really like allowed to be taking it kind of seriously outside of the home, you know. But then when I was really young, when I was like 7 or 8 with my older brother, like I was obsessed, like just watching music videos and bands. So I kind of like I used to play like I was in a band, you know, that was like my game when I was a little kid. And with my brother, we used to play the band, that was the game. And I begged my parents for a long time to get me a drum kit. And then they got me a drum kit. I've been very lucky because my parents were like, okay, you clearly into music, like go off, like do your thing. So they got me a drum kit when I was like 7 years old, and then I basically started a band with my brother when we were kids, and I started then, and I kind of never looked back, you know. It's always evolving. I've gone through different periods. I got really into electronic music like when I was really young, like around 12. I got like some software in my PC, and I was like, whoa, I can, you know, make music in the computer, and it kind of blew my mind. And then from then on, it was like, oh, I really like electronic music, so synthesizers, and it's funny because like when I was a kid, I used to play like the band. That was the game, but I'm still playing that. I'm still in a band, like I'm still playing the game,
Yeah.
What was the first record you ever bought?
The first record I ever bought. I mean, there was so many. I think it was interesting because my older brother was also into music, so I was like kind of always getting his records too. But I think there was a CD from Soda Stereo that I really like, Doble Vida, and yeah, like I think I saved some money, or like it was a Christmas thing, and then like I really like my parents gave me some money, and I went and bought it, and I listened to it for many times. I think it was Doble Vida for Soda Stereo. It's an amazing CD.
I have never heard of that, but I should look into it.
Yeah, they're like a really good alternative rock band from Argentina. It started like in the 80s.
Oh,
They had a very long career.
that's nice.
Yeah.
What was your first gig DJing, and what was it like?
That's interesting. So I'm a musician, I play drums, bass, and synth. So I had bands for a long time. I was really into like ska and punk, and then I was really into like reggae, and like eventually I got really into electronic music and dance music. And I wasn't DJing back then. Like I was playing live, with like synthesizers and stuff. And I was always like, I'm a musician. I'm not really a DJ. But then I had some really good friends from Detroit and New York that were really were teaching me a lot about house music, and I started going to a lot of house music and dance music stuff, and I was like, whoa, like I really want to DJ. So I think my first gig must have been my friends invited me to DJ at a place in the East Village called Key Bar. Yeah, it's a Key Bar. And I had just, it was with CDJs, but it was with CDs and stuff. So I just remember like organizing my library, the CDs very, very well. And I really liked it. It was really fun actually. And then I had like I kind of knew the owner of the bar, and then I asked him if I could do like my birthday party there when I turned, I think like 22 or something. And they were like, yeah. And then I DJ at my birthday party, which was kind of funny. DJ at your birthday party, but that was probably that was like, okay, I'm the DJ now, kind of thing. I was like, I can do this. And yeah, the same thing. I never really stopped. It's like I feel like once I get into something that I really like, I'm very stubborn like that. I just kind of keep going.
Yeah, I know how that feels. I'm kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you get into something, you just can't stop.
Yeah. There's something really like, I don't know, like magical about like putting two records together and like mixing them. Like I it's something addictive about it, honestly. Like beat matching, I really like. Okay, I got this record, and then I put this other record, and then you mix them, and it's something new comes out. That's that feeling. It's just, it never gets old. It's just always fun.
You say you grew up listening to like music and stuff since your parents were also into it. What artists and music or music did you like the genres, and how did they influence you now?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the influences when I was really, really a young kid was like my mom's music in the car. She was always into like baladas and like sort of romantic music. Ana Belén and Victor Manuel, Perales, a lot of these like Spanish ballads, Ana Gabriel, like probably was like also like this rock thing, and I would play it over and over and over and over. I think it was like there was a lot of, my mom had like concert CDs. There was this concert of a CD of Ana Gabriel and Victor Manuel, and the idea that it was like a massive audience like really stuck with me. Like I want to do a big show. Like I want to play in front of a lot of people, and once I started performing with bands, I still to this day like love that feeling of being vulnerable you know, because it's like nerve wracking performing in a lot of people. I'm actually not very. I don't like talking, like or singing. I'm not a singer that much, or I don't talk that much. But playing in front of a lot of people is like it's a very weird feeling. It's like you get really stressed out and it's like nervous. But then once it starts, it's like you just you just fly, and it's again one of those things that is very kind of addictive. You know, it's like a you just get this rush, you know, of performance. So I think like those early live CDs and like concerts, I remember like watching like MTV Unplugged and stuff like that, and it's just the idea of these concerts that I think really inspire me to start performing. You know.
What does your creative process when creating music look like?
I mean, it depends, you know, because I have like different outlets to produce music. So like with my band, with Combo Chimbita, we're very collective effort. It's four of us, and we are very like each of us like adds something to the mix. So we're always constantly like listening to each other, giving feedback to each other. So it's a very collaborative effort. Now for my own music, it's like kind of the complete opposite because it's like kind of by myself in my studio. Sometimes I go a little crazy, you know, but for the most part, I like to either like think of a feeling or mood, a color, a record that really inspires me, you know, that has a certain texture. Like I'm not like a visual person, but I sort of visualize it a little bit in my mind, you know. And with a lot of my music, I work a lot with like sort of repetition and loop bass. So it's like I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna write this whole song in this key with these notes. Like it's more like spontaneous. So it's like I have like a beat, you know, and then I just have that beat going for a while, and then I start just improvising things on top. It's like layering sort of loops that, you know, it's more spontaneous as opposed to pre-planned. I think that's more of the way I kind of work better, I think, for me.
Mm.
So you just like work on it as you go?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like you have like, you know, a beat going or a loop, and then I start layering things and trying things out, you know, jamming, improvising. I love improvisation, you know. It's like, again, it's one of those things in music and performance that it's not, it's like a spontaneity, you know, it's spontaneous moments of creativity, you know. And like a lot of times I'm just working on stuff or jamming things and like it doesn't work, you know. It's like I listen to it after and it's like, yeah, that's weird. But or like I'm trying to come up with something and clearly like the inspiration and creativity is not there. But a lot of times too is like, you know, you just come up with something that you didn't even really think about too much before or didn't really think it through, but it clearly came out and this is a solid idea, and it's like, okay, that's good, you know. The challenge sometimes is to just like constrain and be like, okay, that's good enough, you know, like don't add more things or don't mess it up, you know, because it's also very easy sometimes to, when you're working that way of just layering things and coming up with things on the spot, to sometimes go over and like overdo it and kind of get away from that original spontaneous idea, you know. So it's kind of this push and pull of spontaneity.
I feel like improvising is a lot more meaningful, like in music.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it really is. Like, I think, you know, it's kind of it's at the core of music too. You know, it's like a very communal thing, and it's like a gathering, and like it's an interaction. You know, like the performances too is like you play different if you're in front of different people. You know, and so in a way, thinking that way in the studio, it's also relevant, I think. You know, I love improvising. I think it's fun part. I don't like all these years in music. I don't think I've ever played like at a band that does like covers or like plays other people's music very well. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's like really good. But I'm not really good at that. Like if you tell me like, oh, play, I don't know, this song, by these other artists, like I don't know, it's hard for me to play it. Like again, there's amazing musicians who play like really good renditions of other people's music, but I've always been like kind of want to jam my own thing, you know.
So we know you're a member of the band Combo Chimbita, and we've had the honor of having two other members on La Mesita before, Carolina and Yolento. Can you tell us what being in the band has been like and how it impacts you, your personal work and art making?
Yeah, I mean, you know, being in the band, it's like having another family, really. We are really, really close friends for many, many years. Carolina, it's an amazing performer, and like she has an incredible presence on the stage, and she has this sort of leading role on the performances. Niño Lento is a really dear, close friend of mine. We've known each other since we were teenagers, pretty much. And the same with Dilema Astronauta, the drummer. We have a similar story of migration. You know, we all migrated to New York City when we were teenagers. Sort of left Colombia in the late '90s, early 2000s, and we found a bond, you know, through music. So we're all Colombian immigrants, but we met in New York, and it's just been it's a friendship, you know. It's really like a family, you know. They're there for me when I need them, beyond the music, you know. The fact that we get along so well and that we're really close friends, I think makes the music making so much stronger and relevant, you know. So a band is like having a family.
What is your biggest nightmare as a musician?
Oh my god. So I play, like, for example, with Combo Chimbita, I use a modular synthesizer, which is an instrument that is a synthesizer, but it's got all these patch cables. And basically, I designed this instrument to work with Combo Chimbita, and it's great. I love it. And going back to the improvisational thing, like, because a lot of the components are analog and there's like patch things, it never really sounds the same. It always kind of varies and changes, and I like taking those risks where it's not, you know, it's not like I'm playing with a computer where like everything's gonna be always set the same. I kind of like to take those risks, but it can sometimes really go wrong. Electricity can be like crazy. Like I was in Europe, we were on tour. Not this last time, but like before the pandemic, I think. And yeah, all of a sudden, like I had my transformer, because they have like different electrical outlets over there, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like my synth like just wouldn't turn on, or like it was just acting up like completely different. You know, like 10 minutes before the show, totally freaking out. You know, and it's like unpatching things, trying to create a new patch that works, you know, and it's like the sound check and everyone's like giving you pressure, like, oh, the show is happening, you know, and I kind of pull it off, but it's like it's just I never felt comfortable. It wasn't a good show for me. Everyone was like, yeah, it was fine, but I'm like, no, it was not fine. I think to me it's always that, like, something going wrong, technical, because there's so many ways that so many things could go wrong, and I'm a very technical person. I love equipment, gear, like cameras, cables, all this stuff. It's like I love that stuff. I'm a sound person. I'm a sound engineer, so I love taking risks, but all the variables also can be very nerve-wracking.
Now we're getting into the fun questions.
Okay, yeah, fun questions.
So what has been on the Prince of Queens playlist this year?
The Prince of Queens playlist this year. Oh, it's always, you know what? It's so funny because I love music and I love collecting music. I love vinyl, but I'm so bad with names. Like, I sometimes like I have to look at my records to know the song other than like knowing the name. But I've been listening a lot to. Let me see. What was the last show I went to see? I went to see Little Dragon a couple weeks ago, and their last record was really nice. I really like that record. There is a new record by an artist called Louis Vega. It's an old school like house DJ from New York that I really like. What else have I been really into? Yeah, just I'm always, I think the last year or so it's been really deep in house music. It's like I realized like, oh, I love house music. I can't stop listening to house music. So it's yeah, there's just so much music. It's really hard to tell sometimes. I'm always changing stuff. I think on my Spotify I have like the songs that I like or whatever, and I have like thousands of songs there now. I don't even have it like organized. I just kind of have it in a shuffle, and every time I like something, I just add it on. But yeah, I say Louis Vega, Masters at Work, which are all older, old school guys, but they're still making amazing music. And Little Dragon was a great band.
Nice. What do you think the future of DJing looks like?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like, music always, I feel like it works in cycles. So it's like, at some point, like in DJing, you used to play with records, used to play like long songs, and all with vinyl. And then, there was like, okay, like mixing with like fast cards and stuff. And then it went into like super technology, like CDJs and CDs and like MP3s, and like nobody was playing records. And then it got too crazy with that, and then it went back to the vinyl thing, and it's like there was a big vinyl resurgence kind of looking back. And I think it's now going again into like, no, let's just do again like fast cut, like short snippets of songs. And I think like that's the style that I hear a lot with like especially younger folks, that are like, it's kind of, it's like kind of like TikTok, how it's like always just like changing stuff, bam, 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 bam. I feel like DJing is slowly becoming like that, which, it's cool. I personally, I resonate more with listening to a song for a longer period of time. But I feel like people just kind of don't have the patience to listen to songs that are more like for more than 4 minutes, which is strange. I think it's like a new phenomenon. It's like people don't have that patience anymore.
I think it's mainly because like the new apps like TikTok, Instagram, like they're making like the videos are shorter. So they're more used to like just scrolling, like listening 30 seconds scroll, 30 seconds scroll.
Yeah, that's definitely how it's happened. Even I feel like even in music festivals, I was talking about it with some friends recently too. It's like how music festivals have like all these artists like in a huge lineup, it's like, I don't know, 20, 30 artists in like one day. And it's like, you can't see the like 20 artists in one day, like, but they do like really short sets, and it's even translating now into the live set too, like in festivals and stuff. And DJ sets too, like people do DJ sets, like 20-minute DJ sets or whatever. I feel like 20 minutes is like 4 songs or something. It's like, what? Like, but I do think like it's gonna go back again to another cycle of like, it's too fast, too quick, let's go deep, let's go extended, because I think with music and music technology, it's always like that too. Like, now there's a resurgence of like a lot of analog technology and like analog synthesizers, and like young people are like really into analog stuff because everyone got tired of computer synthesizers. I was like, but then it's like it's always like a cycle thing, when it's like something gets out of fashion and then eventually comes back into fashion, and it's like that. I feel like.
Where's the rap problem worse, New York City or Chicago?
Oh man, New York, there's so many rats. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe it's worse in New York because I feel like here they might have more space to run around between alleys and stuff. I think in New York there's like really no space. They're just like, it's like here they have like back alleys, and the trash I feel like goes into the back of the buildings. In New York is no alleys and stuff, so it's like always in the front, like the garbage is in the front, and you see them on the street all the time. I mean, but now there's so many raccoons too, so I feel like there's like a raccoon rat battle going on, and it's been pretty intense.
There's raccoons
in New York. There's so many right now. They're crazy, and they come out at night, I have a backyard, and I saw like 3 of them last week, like coming off the tree, like, and they're like kind of like cute rats, you know. They just kind of don't live on the street; they live in the trees.
Oh.
But all they do is like go around eating the trash, you know.
What about the pigeons?
Oh, pigeons are basically rats with wings. Yeah, I mean even the squirrels. I mean the squirrels are the cutest, but they're kind of cute rats, you know. They're just running around. I mean they do serve a purpose, you know. I think rats, pigeons, and raccoons help with trash. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not their fault, you know. We put all this trash out, and it's like we're feeding them.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah.
Sort of our problem, but like
Yeah.
we caused it.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just living with it.
Yeah.
What's your go-to order at a bodega?
Oh, okay. I love a chicken cutlet hero with mustard cheese, chipotle mayo, and honey mustard. Yeah, lettuce, tomatoes too. Yeah, I don't know. It's like the chicken cutlet and a deli is good. I'm into that.
I like kind of don't know what any of that is. It's
like-
just it's
You
all
lost
so
me at, like,
complex.
the first beginning, but then I sort of like got into it halfway through that.
The chicken cutlet is like a fried chicken breast, kind of, you know, like it's fried chicken, but with ¿cómo se llama? Yeah, it's like fried chicken breast, but then you put it in a sandwich.
Oh,
It's pretty good. And chipotle
Alright.
mayo, honey mustard, lettuce, tomato, mustard cheese on a hero.
wait, actually, okay, that sounds kind of
Hero is the bigger
Oh,
bread.
yeah.
So
So
in New York, is like the hero is like a long bread, and then the roll is the circle bread. Yeah.
actually
it has a swirl too on it.
Yeah.
sounds pretty good. Actually,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
what crowd do you prefer performing in? New York City, Chicago, or another city?
I mean, it really depends, you know, because the crowd can be so different even in Chicago or New York, depending on the place or the party that you're playing. I mean, I love playing in Chicago. I think as a DJ and with the band, I think people in Chicago have a big music sensibility. There's an amazing music scene here in Chicago. There's a big Latinx culture here, and I think with house music too. I mean, I feel like in Chicago, just the birthplace of house. So it's like I feel like everyone here some way is connected or like into house music and have like a way of understanding house that I really love. But also in New York too, there's a great venues and great clubs depending on the party, you know. Sometimes, I mean, I like playing at places where people are appreciative of, or like people go to experience music or hear music or maybe hear new things, or where people like to be challenged musically in a way, as opposed to maybe just go to a place where they, you know, where I'm gonna be playing like top 40 or like what's on the radio. Like that's cool, there's nothing wrong with that, but I enjoy more like, you know, challenging, like doing things that maybe might not be on the radio, you know, like where people might be like, whoa, I never heard this song, this is cool, as opposed to like, oh, he's playing this song that I know that I like, you know. So it's more like spaces where there's more space for new things, you know, and like stuff that's not necessarily on the radio, you know.
Are there any upcoming projects or anything in the works we should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, so right now I'm working. I finished a bunch of music that is gonna come out next year as Prince of Queens with a label in New York. With Kombucha Invita, we also have some new music coming out later this year and next year. We're also about to announce a tour with Kombucha Invita next spring, where we'll be touring for like a month across the US. It's gonna be really fun and a lot of work. And yeah, I have a lot of music that I'm working on, and my plan is to start my own label as Prince of Queens, and start releasing my own music independently, you know, which I've released a lot of music with different labels, but I really want to try out and just release my music independently. So hopefully that's the plan for next year.
I really hope that like goes well for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Where can we find your music or like any of your upcoming shows?
Yeah, well, you can find my music anywhere on Spotify or whatever. Prince of Queens. You can find me on Instagram, Prince of Queens _NYC. Yeah, I mean that's where I announce all the shows everywhere on my Instagram, on Facebook too, Prince of Queens. And yeah, if you just Google Prince of Queens music, it shows up everywhere too. There's another. It's a weird Google search because sometimes it comes up like the Prince of England, and it's a weird. There's like another. I think there's like a luchador guy. It's like weird. It's weird print. It's a weird Google search, but if you put music, it comes out.
Yeah, I tried searching it up earlier, and there's like Prince of England. I'm like,
no,
this is not the person I'm trying to look for.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for being on our show today. Is there anything else you'd like to mention to our audience?
No, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to Yollocalli. Thank you, Mesita, for inviting me. This has been really, really fun, and I'm excited to do a DJ set for you all.
Very excited too.
Nice.
So thank you all, and thanks to all our listeners.
We are Sonic Vibes. My name is Juno.
And I'm Carla.
And this has been La Mesita with Prince of Queens. Remember, you're listening to WLPN LP on 105.5 FM Limpin Radio Chicago, broadcasting from the chill space here at Yollocalli in Little Village.
But don't go anywhere. Up next, a special performance by Prince of Queens.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's really cool.